theswirlworld.com. Podcast episode 135. The Swirl World.
Interracial.
Diverse.
Beautiful.
Today's shout out goes to Waynell Henson of the ThatSundaySchoolGirl.com website and YouTube channel. Waynell has Sunday school down in her heart, and she started a website and a YouTube channel where you can listen to a review of the upcoming Sunday school lesson for that week. ThatSundaySchoolGirl.com is the place where great students hang out. You know that old saying, if you don't know the Bible, you need Sunday school. And if you know the Bible, then Sunday school needs you. Check out Waynell's site at ThatSundaySchoolGirl.com. You can find her on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Again, shout out to Waynell Henson of ThatSundaySchoolGirl.com. And now, let's see what's cooking on today's show. Keep listening.
And I still remember to this day because I was so scared. I was almost tempted to lock myself in the room the whole time.
Okay.
Because first of all, it felt almost embarrassing, like who goes on a holiday on their own? But it turned out to be one of the best things I've ever done. I think that's one thing I still remember, and I consider it pretty wacky.
Hello and welcome, Swirl Nation. I'm your co-host, Adrienne London Leach, coming at you from theswirlworld.com on behalf of the Swirl World Podcast, where we celebrate Black women, mind, body, soul, and spirit, and the diverse men who love us. Today, we have Nancy Gathecha, and she is a Kenyan best-selling author, trainer, and podcast producer based in Germany. As a lifestyle and digital strategist, she works with creative visionaries who want to achieve balanced success so that they can enjoy life of purpose, passion, and profits. So, swirlers, sit back, relax, and enjoy our conversation with Nancy here on the Swirl World Podcast. Hello, Nancy. How are you?
I'm good, Adrienne. I'm good. Thank you. I'm well.
Great. Listen, I know that you're no stranger to doing this because you are a successful podcaster in your own right. So before I forget, because I'm good at forgetting, tell us the name of your podcast and what it's a little bit about.
Okay. Well, thank you for having me, Adrienne. I really appreciate that. And I'm excited about our call today. I'm excited about our chat with the Swirl Nation. My podcast is called Design Your Success Podcast. And we talk about living by design and not by default, so that you can enjoy the success that you desire. We talk about life and business, faith, motivation, inspiration. Yes.
That is a great, you called it live by design and not default. Wow,
exactly.
That's pretty powerful. To me, that seems to be saying that you're trying to educate your audience to live purposefully as opposed to just going along, just riding a wave along.
Exactly. You hit the nail on the head. Live purposefully. Exactly. Because it's so easy to just, kind of go through life. We get buried by the day-to-day obligations, wake up, go to work, come home. And sometimes, we need a little inspiration or empowerment to remember that, life it's not like a dress rehearsal. And it does take a little effort to on purpose, live by design, because the option is if we don't do that, then we'll just live by default, and then one day you wake up and you're thinking, how did I get here? Or is this what it's all about?
That is really powerful. Absolutely. Nancy, some in our audience may not know what a lifestyle and digital strategist is. So could you explain a little about it and why you chose that career?
Oh, that's a good question, Adrienne. Okay, so lifestyle and digital strategies, it's twofold. So lifestyle, it's basically going back to the idea of living by design And what that means is, getting clear on what is your vision, what do you want in life? And that it can be, right in the beginning, like after the 20s or 30s. It can be after a career change. It can be after a relationship change. It can be, you move country and you're just at a crossroads, or maybe you're just at a point where you realize, I think I want something different from my life. So it's about crafting, it's about designing the life that you desire and basically getting clear on what do I want? What is my version of success? And then I help people to strategize around that and then make it a lifestyle and not a one-time event. So basically, personal goals, personal vision. And as far as digital strategy is concerned, I help companies and entrepreneurs to leverage the internet, the online, to reach their ideal target audience and to add value to them using digital products, digital information, and ultimately, of course, to boost sales.
Okay, now that's a very clear definition. So let me lead into it with this, because that is what you do in regard to helping people get lifestyles and also boost whatever product they have through the digital course of the internet. I think that actually leads to the book that your recent book. I know you've written more than one, but your recent book. Tell us how that. A little bit about the book and how that folds in to your lifestyle and digital strategy.
Okay, great question again. That's a good way to, kind of bridge into that. The book is about vision again, because I believe, Adrienne, that everybody has a dream. We all have something that we would like to have, to be or do in this life. It could be dormant, or it could be something that we are kind of hesitant maybe to step into because maybe we doubt ourselves, we don't have the time, we're not really sure if it's the right thing to do. But I believe that everybody has a dream. And why I think that is because, God puts those seeds of greatness in us, and then life happens. You have a job, you have to pay bills, you have a family, and then those dreams kind of just they're stuck under the piles of life. And the book is basically about helping people to activate or to reactivate those dreams or vision. I use the word dream and vision interchangeably. And so I wrote the book to inspire fellow visionaries because, Adrienne, I am a dreamer and a doer. I dream a lot, but I also do a lot. And I know it's not that easy. I also have to work with people to kind of, have the courage to not only dream, but to take the steps, to make those dreams real. Because it doesn't mean that when you take the step that the dream is going to come to pass, Adrienne. But I believe we better, try something and maybe learn something out of it, even if it doesn't work, than live a life of regret, wondering, what if? What if I had dared start that business? What if I had, gone into that relationship despite a failed marriage? What if, what regret is horrible. And so the book is basically to inspire people to have a purpose and to pursue their vision and their dreams, which are ultimately purpose-led or purpose-based.
Well, that's interesting because the way you describe it, it sounds like it's something that you yourself have lived. Is that so?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. I'm still living it. So it's not like I've arrived.
No, okay, good. I didn't mean like you were dead or anything. Okay. I see. Okay.
Yes. Another thing, if I may mention, Adrienne, is the book is, it's about vision boarding, but it's about a faith-based vision boarding because when people hear vision boards, they think about the law of attraction and The Secret. And incidentally, I've never read that book, The Secret, but I'm by nature a very, very curious person. And I believe in living out your potential, living out my potential. And so as a creative person, we said we have New Year resolutions or we have goals. And a lot of people flinch when they hear that because they tried something and it didn't work. And so as a creative person, I used to do that, Adrienne. I used to set, New Year resolutions and goals. And then come February latest, they were all forgotten. And I'm sure our listeners can identify with that. I'm sure I'm not the only one. And so until I discovered a different way of going after what you want to do, going after your intentions, is to really have a vision and then take steps without, having that thing of it's a resolution and I need to change, I need to do that. It's more from a desire, a purpose-led desire. What do I want and why do I want it? And what do I need to do to make this thing come to pass? And then enjoying the journey ultimately.
Absolutely. And I agree with you. I am definitely, and the Swirl World has actually posted a few encouraging things for women to say, don't worry about resolutions, just be resolved or be determined to make whatever change it is that you wish to make. Because our philosophy really is that if you're resolved or determined, Nancy, to do something, you know you're going to fail, but you know that in that failure, you're still going to move on. And the completion date is a little bit longer than, say, like you said, a New Year's resolution. You know, the favorite one, going to the gym, and you end up not going to the gym after February, which is different. To be resolved is I want to be healthier. And if you have, I want to be healthier, you may go to the gym some. Then you may walk some. You will change some of your eating. You see, it's a long-term thing. There may be times, like I have done, Nancy, that you grab a box of donuts, but you don't give up. I still want to be healthier. So you put it down and you go back to your resolve. And that's what I hear you saying. And we both have that particular same philosophy. But you know what? I got to get a little nosy because I'm being nosy for my audience. And
that's fine.
Since you are a lifestyle guru to some extent.
Guru. I'm not sure about that.
Adrienne. Just a little bit. I have to give you props, just a little bit. Okay. We want to know a little bit about your lifestyle. So I'm going to throw you a softball. Tell us how you start your day. How do you get up for the day?
Okay, I'll be now very, it's going to sound kind of, I'm very flexible. Like if I go to bed, what I try to do the day before is kind of have a rough idea of what do I want to achieve the next day. So I'll write that down, just maybe 3 or 4 things of what do I want to achieve the next day. Because I find like as we sleep, you know, you're working through things and you're going to wake up already when when the alarm goes on. And this is where I'm going to say, I don't always wake up when the alarm goes on. Sometimes I hit the snooze button, it just depends on, if I think, you know what, you need a little bit of sleep now, or sometimes I'll even wake up before the alarm goes off. So I don't wake up technically with an alarm like in a rigid way. But what I do when I get up is I get some coffee before I even talk to God, before I need to get some coffee, some coconut oil, and then I read something from a daily devotion or, just a quote, something. I have a little book with some Bible verses or some quotes, and then I start getting into the day with that. I feed my brain after I've had the coffee, and then, we look at what we wrote yesterday and decide, okay.
One of the things that I want to encourage all of us to do is get a routine. There's nothing wrong with routine. Routine does help you set along a path in regards to what you want to do. And I like your routine. It's almost similar to mine. I get up, I pray first, and then I do my morning worship. And then I get into other things that I need to do. But what I find that routine does is it helps free my mind. And it helps me to focus on what is important. And it helps me to kind of get away from things that are not, so I won't get upset over little things and stuff. And that really focuses me. So I like the fact that you have a routine, and routine is really good. But I got to ask something a little out of the way. And here it is. Like all of those things I know someone like you would do because you're very determined and you're consistent. Tell us something wacky that you've done, something out of your normal routine that was just fun. Like maybe you went out and flirted with a guy. Oh, wait a minute. I don't know. Are you married? I don't want to get you in any trouble. Are you single or married?
I am single. I'm currently single. Yes.
Okay, so I can say that. So did you go out and flirt with somebody, or did you just say, you know what, today I'm going to just go and just do whatever my eyes see? So share one of those stories with us.
Oh, wow. Okay. There you put me in a spot there. I have to think. Is this in connection to my routine or just life in general?
Life in general.
Okay. I think one of the wackiest things I would have considered was when I went on a holiday on my own, absolutely. And that was to Spain. I'd never been on a holiday in a strange country as a single Black woman. And I think that was the wackiest thing I did. And then, of course, the tricky thing of you're on holiday for 2 weeks as a single Black woman in Spain, in another country, and you have to, connect with people. You're sitting at a table, and there's either a couple or there's another single person, and I think that was for me the wackiest thing that got me out of my comfort zone. And I still remember to this day because I was so scared. I was almost tempted to lock myself in the room the whole time.
Okay.
Because first of all, it felt almost embarrassing, like who goes on a holiday on their own? But it turned out to be one of the best things I've ever done. I think that's one thing I still remember, and I consider it pretty wacky.
Okay, let me ask you, where did you go in Spain?
I went to Mallorca.
Oh my! Now, is that like near the sea or?
Yes, it's near the sea. And over here in Europe, when you say Mallorca, everybody thinks, oh, that's the party zone. It's on the ocean in Spain. But there's two sides of it. There's also the kind of a quiet side where, people who don't want, loud noise and partying, I'm beyond that. But it's still fun, it's still a holiday resort area. And that's where I went.
Well, I have to ask this because we're trying to encourage Black women to step outside their comfort zone just like you did. When you went to Spain alone and you're a Black woman and you are a very beautiful Black woman, how did the men, or not only the men, but just the people in general where you are, how did they respond to you? I understand feeling a little bit afraid or something because you were by yourself. But how did they respond to you, beautiful Black woman? How was that response, especially from a lot of our ladies are single, so they really would like to hear how the single men responded as well.
There were not that many single men because, by default, people are going there either as couples or as group, people going on a group holiday. So there were not very many. We did meet two. I ended up meeting one lady who was from the United Kingdom, and she was also there on her own on holiday. It turns out that she had lost her son and she just needed to get away, and that was for her also just something totally different. So we connected. She was staying, like in a hotel opposite me. And so it was like, okay, we're here. We each want our peace. We want our time alone, but we can meet like for dinner or something. And so that kind of helped because it was, I made a new friend. We didn't hang out together the whole time.
Right.
But as far as how people reacted, like, at the hotel, at the breakfast, maybe the people who were serving you, they were actually very friendly. I mean, they would look like thinking, okay, somebody's coming to join her. But after a while, I had to stop feeling that self-consciousness because it can really kind of just hinder you from having fun. And after a while, I realized, these are also people who are on holiday. And sometimes we think people are thinking more about us than they actually are.
That's a good one.
Yeah. And they're on holiday and they're like, hey, that's another, you'd go and sit down and they'd look at you and say, okay, maybe I had a book or I just put on my sunglasses and watch people or watch the ocean, smile and say hello. They were very friendly because as most people on holiday are pretty friendly. So it was a good experience. It was a very good experience.
Great. That is good to hear. Very good to hear. So I also wanted to bounce off in regards to places. Now, I know you're Kenyan, but why Germany? And what part of Germany are you in, by the way?
I'm in Bonn, and that's pretty much the central. It used to be the capital many years before Germany, the East and the West, came together.
Yes.
So I'm in Bonn. That's pretty much the central of Germany. Why Germany? Well, I was in a swirling relationship. I was in an interracial relationship. I was married, and the relationship ended, and I stayed on.
Oh. So
yeah.
was he German? Was he German?
Yes, he was German. Yes.
Did you meet him in Kenya?
Yes, we met in Kenya. We lived in Kenya for 4 years, about 3 to 4 years. And then he was an expatriate. And when that contract ended, we came back to Germany together.
Wow.
Our relationship didn't last, the culture change and everything. And we grew apart and I stayed on.
Oh, okay. Well, that's interesting. So you decided that, no, I don't think I'll go back home. I think since I've made my life here, I will just stay here in Bonn, Germany. That's very interesting.
Yes.
Was it difficult to adjust to moving from Kenya and the particular cultural lifestyles there to the ones in Bonn, Germany?
Absolutely. It was more difficult than I anticipated. By nature, I'm a very optimistic person. And, he used to tell me, in Germany, it's different. We would visit, but he was like, visiting is different from living here, and I'm like, oh, we'll be fine, everything's going to work out. But it did end up to be pretty difficult. The culture shock, the whole setting of when you're in Africa, when you're in your home country, you have friends, we're very social in Africa. And then here in Europe, you're just literally like in your flat, and you don't know your neighbors. I didn't speak the language. I didn't have friends. He would go to work and I'd still be at home trying to figure out the language thing. And it was actually pretty difficult,
I can
but well.
understand. But you're bilingual now, correct?
Yes,
Because you speak
yes.
German probably very fluently.
Yes, I do. I speak fluent German now. Yes,
Oh.
but back then I didn't.
Now, how long ago was that, Nancy?
Oh, that's about almost 20 years now.
Okay.
15, little over 15 years.
Yeah, so you absolutely would. And obviously you understand, look, if I'm going to stay here, I need to understand the culture and the language and so forth. So that's an obvious. And I mean, you've obviously just done extremely well. You have exploded in a culture that wasn't even yours. So
Thank you.
That is certainly to be applauded. And also, one of the things I've noticed is that you're a very faith-filled person.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to know how that inspires you in your writing, in your books, and in your business in general.
I would say it is the foundation of who I am. It's not always been like that,
Okay.
I was at one time, and I'm not proud to say that I was an atheist at one time in my life, including, when we moved to this country.
Mm-hmm.
And, faith is one of the things that helped me, get through it. And it's an influence from my mother who, I was raised in a family of, my mother was a born again believer. But when I was about 16, I thought, there's too much injustice and too much pain. And I just had so many questions. By default, I'm a very, very curious person. And I couldn't figure out the answer. So I thought, you know what? I don't think this God exists. But, that just because we say he doesn't exist doesn't mean he does not exist.
Well, that's true. That's true.
He continues to exist. So a couple of years later, I got back, full circle, the prodigal daughter. And faith it's a foundation of everything I do, actually, from my coaching to my work to actually, if it wasn't for my faith, I wouldn't be living here, Adrienne. I'd be living in Canada because I wanted to migrate there after the marriage ended. I moved there, I went there, and then I had an encounter with God, and I knew, you know what, you need to come back to Germany. That's where your purpose is related to this country.
Okay.
And that's why I'm still here.
Wow, that is interesting.
Yeah.
Your book, the new one, it's
Vision boarding the faith-based way, how to activate your dreams.
okay. Your new book. And if someone were to say, okay, I'm going to read this, but they haven't heard the podcast. Let's just say they find out you have a new book and they say, I'm going to read this. And after they read it, what do you think they would say about you? What do you think they would derive about you from that book? What are 5 things you think that they would get about Nancy from that book?
Whoa, Adrienne, that's a great question. Yeah. It's like when you go for an interview and they ask you, so what are your strengths? And you're trying to, kind of talk about yourself, because we rarely see ourselves the way other people see us, maybe because we just take it for granted.
Nancy, it's not rarely. We never see ourselves the way people see us. I hear you, but I know it's a tough question, and if you can't get all 5, that's okay. I usually start with 5 because some people actually can, but a little something that would, if the audience that is listening, if they haven't gotten the book, it might be something that may say, yeah, I'm going to be drawn to this because I see a lot of her in this book. So what do you think? What do you think?
Okay. I'm a very curious person. I ask a lot of questions. And not because, I kind of doubt things, but because I like to know how things work, how and why. I have a lot of why, I'm a very curious person. And I'm a dreamer. I'm a total dreamer, but I'm also a doer, you
Right.
know. So I take chances. I dream, I envision things and I think, what if, and then I take some calculated and sometimes not so calculated risks. Let me see. Those are three. I like to have fun, Adrienne. It's never
You
that
sound like it.
serious,
You sound like it. It's in your voice.
Yeah, I do. I'm a go-getter, absolutely a go-getter. But because it's never that serious, I'm not afraid to fail. I actually don't believe in failure. I believe in feedback. So I'm not afraid to try something.
Okay.
And if it doesn't work, I'm like, okay, well, quite go like it is. But what did we learn from this? And what can we take away with this? And I love God. I love Jesus.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
And they will get all of those things from your new book. So I have one last question for you. And hopefully this is something that, matter of fact, I know it's going to be something that helps whoever is listening here on the nation. And that is, what piece of advice, what type of life wisdom could you give our audience in regards to their overall look or their dreams? You said you were a dreamer. Their dreams about life. What good piece of advice could you give them?
What good piece of advice? Now I'm thinking of so many things. I have to kind of narrow this down.
Okay.
Basically, life is not a dress rehearsal, Adrienne. Marked really precious, and it's we don't have like all these years to kind of try and maybe wait and see. It's not a dress rehearsal. It's a precious adventure. And like Mark Twain said, the two most important days in our lives are the day that you're born, and the day you find out why. And which brings us back to purpose. Each and every one of us was put on earth for a purpose. We're here not only for ourselves, but to add value and to be a blessing to other people. And start living it, whatever you have in your heart, whatever you feel like, I would like to do this. Start doing it and enjoy the adventure. Without thinking, what if it doesn't work and what will people say and I'm not sure, just step out and enjoy the adventure and try new things, and don't be afraid if something doesn't work out. You learn, and then that's what life is, You live by design and not by default.
I love that saying, the best saying I have heard in a long time. You live by design, not by default. That is really a great saying. Well, Nancy, before we wrap up our podcast, I really want you to tell our listeners where they can purchase your book, the name of your book one more time, and how they can get a hold of you if they are also interested in your digital marketing strategies.
All right. So my website is, I don't like to say the whole Nancy Gathecha because the spelling is tricky, but L for life, B for business, success. So the initials, www.lbsuccess.com. That's the little corner on the interwebs. The book is vision boarding. Like if it's on Amazon, it's available as a Kindle, as a paperback. So it's vision boarding the faith-based way, and you can get it worldwide on Amazon.
Absolutely. And do you have like a Facebook page or anything where they could also contact you?
Oh, yes. I'm on social media, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and that's N Gathecha, like N for my Nancy, and then Gathecha for my second name.
Absolutely. That has been wonderful. Nancy, you have been such a trooper, because I know your audience, she's in Germany doing this podcast with me, which means where I am on the East Coast, it's her time is totally at least 4 or 5 hours different. So I first of all appreciate you giving up your evening, to do this podcast with me. And I want to thank you for those wonderful words. Live by design, not by default. Those are excellent words to live by. You are an inspiration to our audience and to our Swirl Nation. And Nation, that's our show for today. So until next time, remember the Swirl Whirl, mind, body, spirit, and soul.
Thanks for listening. Make sure to like the Swirl World on Facebook, and subscribe to the blog at theswirlworld.com.
Head on over to iTunes and subscribe to the podcast or listen directly from our Facebook page.
We can also be heard on SoundCloud and Stitcher Radio.
The Swirl World.
Interracial.
Diverse.
Beautiful.